Just doing a little super flexing. What is going on, Headliner Nation? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Hopefully everybody's doing well out there. Got ourselves another Mock Draft Monday queued up and ready to go over here on Fantasy Pros using the Draft Wizard. Now, we've been getting a lot of questions about Superflex leagues, some 2 quarterback leagues, and if we can do a mock draft for those. Well, yes, we can, and we're going to today. However, don't worry. If that's not how your league is set up, I may have a little bit different strategy when it comes to Superflex 2 quarterback leagues that even though that's what these league settings are, you can still take away a lot of information, a lot of player analysis, a lot of in-depth information here from these type of videos. So don't leave, don't worry. Even if this is not your exact league setup, you can still find some useful information here for 2020 fantasy football. And we're not going to take a whole lot of time. Let's go over there and see how we set it up in Fantasy Pros to make sure if you guys want to attempt this, you have it set up the same way. All right, so here's my settings here for the Fantasy Pros mock draft we're going to be doing. As you can tell, it's half PPR snake style draft from the 5th position. And then you can see right here, this is what I'm talking about, using 2 under the quarterback position right here. This puts a little bit more added emphasis on the quarterback position instead of doing it down here under the Superflex tab. I don't really know why. That's just kind of what I've seen by doing mock drafts. So I usually put the 2 in the quarterback position there. Still got our 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a normal flex spot, 7 bench spots, kicker, and defense. Pretty straightforward and simple after that. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, well, as soon as you hit start draft, the thing starts for you automatically. I have no timer selected, so I have more time to talk to you. However, if you wanted to set a timer limit, there is that option back at that option screen we just came from. But once you click start draft, it starts, and you can see right off the bat, Christian McCaffrey, Zeke Elliott, Saquon Barkley. That's pretty 1, 2, 3 across the board everywhere here this year, regardless if it's Superflex or not. And now it's followed by Michael Thomas. Now, Michael Thomas, somebody here at the number 4 pick who you're going to see a lot of here in 2020. I still see some Dalvin Cook being picked there also. However, I have a feeling he's going to start falling. A lot of people are going to start worrying about the potential holdout. Don't worry about that yet. Now, hopefully you're not drafting too many redraft leagues as of right now, so you're not having to make that decision. We'll get to that point when we get to August, mid-August. If he's still sitting out, if he's still not reporting, then we got an issue that we'll talk about. But for right now, mock draft purposes, we're still planning on him being there. Something we need to pay attention to here throughout the offseason. So we're going to head over to our cheat sheets now. We'll see who's available. I already hid the tiers and the drafted players. Not my tiers. Players are gone. I don't care. So you can see here at the 5 pick, we still have Alvin Kamara on the board. And I'm big on Alvin Kamara, right? I think that a lot of people are passing him by because of what happened last year, even though he wasn't 100% healthy. They've added Emmanuel Sanders. They already have Jared Cook and Michael Thomas to help pull the defenders outside of the box. We know how involved in the passing game Alvin Kamara is, and I can't pass him. Right here at the number 5 spot, there's options. I could go Adams, I could go Hill, but I'm not going to pass on what I feel is the number 4 running back in fantasy football this year. I'm going to take Alvin Kamara here in the 1st round. And then we're going to see what we're left. Go back to the draft board here after it makes all of its selections. So after we select, we had Dalvin Cook come off, Patrick Mahomes, first quarterback at 107, Henry, then Lamar Jackson, second quarterback at 109. A little run on wide receivers with Adams, Hill, Julio, then Jacobs, Mixon, Dak at the 203, Sanders, Hopkins, Russell Wilson, 206, and then Nick Chubb got sniped right before us. They know we all about that Chubb life. So here we go. We got Kenyon Drake, Chris Godwin, Travis Kelce, still a lot of quarterbacks. And a lot of people may select a Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, Josh Allen, Matt Ryan right around this spot. Personally, I'm going to wait a little bit longer. I love what's down in here. You got the Jimmy G's, the Phillip Rivers, the Drew Locks. This isn't Dynasty, right? So, I mean, I'm looking at just this year. Heck, I don't even mind Gardner Minshew this year as my number 2 quarterback. So I'm waiting a little bit longer. Not going to rush to get that quarterback just yet, but we're paying attention to it. So I'm looking at running back and wide receiver. We got Alvin Kamara already. Kenyon Drake, somebody who I'm high on this year. I think anybody that runs the ball in that Arizona offense is going to produce. And you can get Chase Edmonds super cheap late on just in case if you want to. Aaron Jones, a little bit off that bandwagon. Austin Eckler. I may have an unsafe obsession with Austin Eckler here in 2020. I'm trying to pull back the reins a little bit, but I really like what I see from Austin Eckler here in 2020. At the wide receiver position, going to have a lot of people that say, hey, Jake, you should probably take Chris Godwin right here, maybe even Kenny Golladay. And I get that, absolutely, 100%. My pick is going to be coming a little bit earlier this next round, and I'm hoping that maybe one of these guys, either Godwin, Golladay, Evans, that they fall to me there in the next round, because I love running backs, and I want to make sure that I have as many touches as I possibly can. Personally, I love Austin Eckler and Kenyon Drake, and I don't know if I can pass them by, so let's just see what happens. Let's go with another big-time pass-catching running back, being that it is half PPR, and go Austin Eckler. And, I mean, we really lucked out. But why did we luck out? And this is what we're going to see right here. So, go back to the draft board. We took Austin Eckler. After that, Godwin, Kyler Murray, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Travis Kelce, then Drake, Jones, another quarterback in Deshaun Watson, and then Odell Beckham. So what did that leave us? That left us Kenny Golladay and Mike Evans here at the top. Now, it's the third round, and it's Superflex. Don't, comment down below. There's no way those guys will last that long. In Superflex, they could. Absolutely, they could, because so many people are looking. Look, there's already 6 spots, 6 quarterbacks that have been taken in the first 2.5 rounds. So that's going to mean that other people are going to fall. So we got Golladay and Evans, and I'm going to take one of them. I can't let both these guys pass by because we still have a lot of quarterbacks. Kind of a preference here, right? Mike Evans, he's going to have a lot of people to contend with for targets. We know about Chris Godwin, Gronk, O.J. Howard. What type of running game are they going to have there in Tampa Bay? Kenny Golladay, he's still the alpha in that offense, right? Yeah, they brought in DeAndre Swift. They're going to need to establish a running game this year. But Kenny Golladay is kind of just one of those big plays waiting to happen. Not the type of guy who's going to go out and get 100, 110 receptions, but he is the type of guy that can go out there and get you 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns, and that's kind of what I'm looking for right here. Give me Kenny G in the third. And then we will see what happens. All right, now I have a running back obsession. I totally admit to that. But right here, I feel pretty confident having Kamara and Eckler already, especially in a half PPR league, that I need to look at wide receiver. And I say that because pretty soon, if there's another quarterback run, I'm going to have to look at quarterback. And I don't want to miss out on some of these top wide receivers that are actually sitting here. I love Calvin Ridley. I think Robert Woods is super safe, especially as a wide receiver too, but I prefer him as my number 3. A.J. Brown to me is kind of a lot like Kenny Golladay, right? I mean, they kind of have the same type of game. They're not going to be the type of guy to go out and get 100, 110 receptions, but they could go out there and get 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. Calvin Ridley kind of has that same ceiling, in my opinion. I could totally see Calvin Ridley going out there and getting 11, 1,200 yards and possibly, 8 to 10 touchdowns. However, I think he sees more volume. He racks in more receptions, and that's what kind of makes him a little bit safer, in my opinion. So I'm going to go with Calvin Ridley right here. I think the guy is destined for a breakout in 2020. So now I got Kamara, Eckler, Golladay, Ridley. Top 10 quarterbacks now have come off the board. Don't panic yet, people. We're getting to it. So after we took Ridley, Gurley, Gordon, Sutton, A.J. Brown. And then we had a little bit of a run on quarterbacks that's starting here, right? Breeze, Daniel Jones, then Keenan Allen sandwiched in between him and Tom Brady. So we're down, the top 10 are out. And Fantasy Pros is probably pissed off because I haven't taken a quarterback yet. But that's okay. I'm not worried about the grade that I get at the end of this draft. I want my guys, right? The guys who I've done the research on, that, I have the facts for, that I want on my team. That's what I want. I'm not worried about the score at the end of it. If it works out great, it works out great. But that's not dependent, if your team is good or not. So what do we have? Let's see here. We just took Ridley. I would really prefer to have a running back as my flex play. We have Le'Veon Bell, David Johnson, James Conner. I mean, there's some good options left here. We have Robert Woods. He could rack up receptions, couldn't he? You have Devontae Parker, Tyler Lockett, DJ Chark, a little bit iffy for me. There's definitely some options here, 100% some options. And actually, we may get somewhat lucky again. I could actually go right here with a Robert Woods, who I think can rack in those receptions, and we still may have somebody fall to us like a Devin Singletary or Raheem Mostert to really give us that third option. Just because it's going to put him in my flex play, I can put him down below on the bench and start one of the running backs if I wanted to. So what I'm going to do right here, I'm going to gamble a little bit, and I'm going to go with Robert Woods. I think he is a safe option as my flex play. He gives a little bit of safety to the wide receiver group that I have. being that I took somewhat of a little bit of a risk on Ridley. Kenny Golladay I do like. And now, I mean, we're absolutely stacked because we still have James Conner here, David Montgomery. What kind of identity do we have for the Bears? Raheem Mostert. Now the top 14 quarterbacks are off the board. So if I don't take one here, you better believe I'm going to have to pretty soon. So right now I've got Kamara, Eckler, Golladay, Ridley, and Woods. James Conner sitting here as a running back 3 that's going to be on my bench is a lot of upside. It's almost too much to pass, if you're asking me, because I'm not reliant on him weekly. His injury concerns aren't as much of a concern because I'm not having to start him every single week. So I'm going to have to go with James Conner, put him on my bench as my running back 3. That's great value, 100% on board with that. Now, I got to look quarterback. The top 14 are off the board. You can see that no quarterback has been taken in the last round and a half or so. A lot of people already have a quarterback or 2 on their roster, so it's going to start to slow down. Now, I want to make sure that I get somebody that I want. Big Ben, I'm worried that the elbow. I mean, I know he's come out and said he's healthy. We've seen him throwing a little bit, but I haven't seen, full speed passing drills, anything with Ben Roethlisberger. So that's going to be a no for me. Baker Mayfield, yeah, I would really want to buy in to Baker Mayfield. And especially in a 2-quarterback league, the ceiling is through the roof, right? The offensive line is better. Weapons galore. It has to be better than it was last year. Can't get much worse. Ryan Tannehill, I think he's going to be another solid option this year. Goff, I'm not overly interested in because I really don't understand what's going on in L.A. Joe Burrow, I mean, the prospect, numbers are through the roof, but I don't know if I want him to be my number 1. I still like some other names down in here. I still like the Jimmy G's and Phillip Rivers and Drew Locks and Gardner Minshew's and Derek Carrs. I even don't hate Dwayne Haskins, and if you think that's crazy, I did a video a couple weeks ago, maybe about a month or so ago, and I talked about Dwayne Haskins and how a breakout could be coming. So what do we have available over here? We have Raheem Mostert, Cam Akers, Kareem Hunt. I don't mind Mostert at all at this point. Jarvis Landry, Tyler Boyd, Michael Gallup, Julian Edelman. Jarvis Landry, another guy to rack in some receptions, but I'm already pretty set at that point right now with Golladay, Ridley, and Woods. Tight end, I am off the Evan Ingram bandwagon. I do not agree with a lot of people on Evan Ingram, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I have him outside my top 12. The amount of options they have there in that offense and his inability to stay healthy is just too much for me. Jared Cook, I don't hate, but I already have Alvin Kamara. Do I want both Saints in there? I don't mind it. It would have been better if I maybe even had a Drew Brees, but Gronk, I think Gronk is definitely somebody who I would like to have, but I can wait longer for him, and if I miss out on him, I miss out on him. But I'd really prefer to get him around the 10th round, not in the 7th or 8th by any means. So it's kind of a crapshoot. Part of me wants to gamble here, and I want to go with Raheem Mostert and really rack up some running backs and really have them solidified and ready to go, and then grab 2 quarterbacks in the next 2 rounds. I don't know how that's going to turn out, but we're going to try it because I love running backs. I waited on running backs, and I still got Kamara, Eckler, Connor, and Mostert. That's enough to give me a Chubb, even though I don't have Chubb right now. And perfect. The guys that I like, Jimmy Garoppolo, Drew Lock, Gardner Minshew, Derek Carr, they're all sitting here. I can have my pick. What I could probably do is take one of them now, then sandwich like a Gronk in between, maybe even a Hayden Hurst, and then get the other guy in the next round. So I love Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, a lot of people don't agree on Jimmy Garoppolo, but they added Brandon Ayuk. Jalen Hurd is back and healthy now. I have Raheem Mostert. They have one of the best running games, a top offensive line, a great defense, a very innovative coach on the offensive side of things to really, make different situations happen. And Jimmy G is about as solid as you can get. He had 27 touchdowns last year, threw for almost 4,000 yards, and didn't have a whole lot outside of Deebo Samuel. Had a little Emmanuel Sanders in there, sprinkled in. But he's got way more weapons this year. A lot of people don't understand how great Brandon Ayuk could be. They traded back up into the first round to get this kid. We know that they have George Kittle already. I love Jimmy Garoppolo, and I'm going to own an unsafe amount of Jimmy Garoppolo here this year. I can feel it in my bones. So we can do a couple different things now. I mean, I feel pretty safe, all over the place. Actually, there's a lot of names coming up, a lot of second-year wide receivers, which I'm going to be doing a video on that I really love here coming up. We got, the Darius Slaytons, Deontay Johnsons coming up that I feel have the ability to really break out and have some big years. I even love Mecole Hardman this year. Be careful, I may be doing a video on Mecole Hardman also. He's definitely somebody to pay attention to. As for running backs, I'd like to get maybe Latavius Murray as a handcuff to Kamara in a round or two. Drew Lock is definitely a quarterback who I'm interested in this year just because of the opportunity in that offense. Another guy loaded with weapons. And what I could do is just take Drew Lock now and then go and get like a Dwayne Haskins or Jared Stidham late on as a third quarterback just in case. Derek Carr, love Derek Carr. People still want to hate on Derek Carr. I don't. I just think right now he's safer, but the upside, it goes to Drew Lock. So give me Drew Lock. And here we are in the 10th round, and we talked about it a little bit earlier. A tight end that I didn't want to take until the 10th round is sitting there, and it's Gronk. Not even going to look anywhere else. Why? I need a tight end like right now, and Gronk's ceiling is still a tight end 1, right? He's still going to finish inside the top 10. Not going to be old school Gronk. Not going to be 1,300 yard, 15 touchdown Gronk. But he could definitely be 700 to 800, 10 touchdown Gronk, and I will take that in the 10th round all day long. So now we got Jimmy G, Drew Lock, Kamara, Eckler, Galladay, Ridley, Gronk, Woods, Connor, and Mostert. I mean, this is absolutely lining up to be amazeballs. Dwayne Haskins, I could take him as my third quarterback right now. Do I always take 3 quarterbacks? Yes, I do, and I'll tell you why. Some people are going to, some people aren't. The problem is, it's not like, another running back or wide receiver position where you can just go pick up somebody and stream them. There's not going to be anybody else available, and you want to make sure that you have those starting options, at least one of them on your bench. So if, Jimmy G or Drew Lock go down, you're not stuck with an empty hole. Now, a lot of you guys can put, anybody in that Superflex spot, another position, but you really don't want to start off behind the 8 ball. We already know that Dwayne Haskins, or a quarterback of any caliber for that matter, has the potential of scoring higher numbers than somebody else that you're going to draft here in these late rounds. It's more of a lottery ticket for the running backs and wide receivers, where at least Dwayne Haskins is going to go out there, and even if he has a bad game, put up 12 points, it's going to be kind of hard to find that consistently with a lot of other guys. So I would like to take Dwayne Haskins right here as my number 3 for the wide receiver position. I mean, we missed out on a Deontay Johnson, which, is going to happen. I still see Mecole Hardman here. He may wait another round or two. Henry Ruggs is a rookie who I really don't mind at all this year. Anthony Miller could see some targets in Chicago. We do need another tight end at some point, but heck, Jonnu Smith's still not getting any love. I love Jonnu Smith late. Dallas Goedert, somebody else who's continuing to fall. Guy finishes a top, tight end 1 last year. Why is he falling so much? I don't know. So one of those guys will be my target later on. Right now for the running back position, Latavius Murray. I feel pretty safe at running back right now, having 4 of them already that could be starters at any point. So he's not a must. Right now, quarterback is probably the thinnest, right? Do I want to have to rely on Tyrod? No, because Herbert probably takes that job. What about Fitzmagic? I don't mind Fitzmagic one bit. But if they struggle, do we see Tua? I hope not. Stidham, as of right now, is a starting quarterback, but I wouldn't be surprised if in a month they sign Cam Newton. Even though it sounds right now like it's not a possibility, Cam Newton's going to find a job somewhere. He's too good to not have a job somewhere. Do I want to rely on Nick Foles or Mitch Magic? Nope, I really don't. I really think that there's a breakout potential for Dwayne Haskins, and I will only do this in a 2-quarterback league because I want to have somebody else on the bench, and Dwayne Haskins looks great right now. He's really handled the offseason well, and definitely somebody who I think has that potential to break out. So here we go. I'm going to look around the wide receiver and tight end mark here now. Got Robbie Anderson, Preston Williams, great second-year wide receiver, but coming off that torn ACL. Does he start slow this season? That's a possibility. Justin Jefferson should see an immediate target share in Minnesota now that there's no Stephon Diggs. Alshon Jeffrey, no, more than likely not going to be healthy to start the year. Brashad Perryman, a Jets offense, not overly, excited about. Curtis Samuel, I don't really think that Teddy B is going to be able to, handle all those different weapons they have and throw the ball enough to really make Curtis Samuel somebody I can count on weekly. Sammy Watkins, no. Jalen Reagor, love the rookie Jalen Reagor. And now that we know that Alshon Jeffrey may miss a lot of time, we know that Deshaun Jackson can't stay healthy. Reagor could see an absurd amount of targets in this offense. A lot of targets. So he's definitely somebody who I'm interested also. We still have options at tight end, and we still have our Latavius Murray back up here to Alvin Kamara. We spent a first-round pick on Alvin Kamara, and we're solid at running back. And usually I try to get around 5 running backs on my roster. The safest play for me right now is Latavius Murray. And the reason I'm going to take him, he still has weekly value, right? He's not going to be somebody to go out there and have the huge ceiling, but even though right now he's the handcuff to Kamara, I can still put him at flex if need be, and he has that safety of 8 points or so a week, 8 to 10 points. Plus, I've insured my first-round pick, and I have somebody on my bench that I can count on weekly if need be. Remember, that offense has supplied 2 top-tier running backs before. Wouldn't be surprised if they could do it again. Now we go back to wide receiver, and Jalen Reagor is going to be my guy. I think the target share is going to be there. And when you're looking in the 13th round, you're looking for opportunity and possibility and upside. Jalen Reagor has it. He's going to be one of my wide receivers here. He'd be my wide receiver 4, and I'll take it. Still have the options at tight end. I do think that I need one more wide receiver to give me another 5 wide receivers total. And really, there's nobody who I'm overly excited about. We talked about Chase Edmonds at one point. Not somebody who I'm going to target unless I do have Kenyon Drake, kind of similar to what we did with Latavius Murray. As for wide receivers, Rashad Perryman, Curtis Samuel, Deshaun Jackson, D.D. Westbrook, Hunter Renfrow, Fitzgerald, Paris Campbell. Paris Campbell's another one of these second-year guys who I think has the opportunity to really break out in an offense that's led by Phillip Rivers. This guy could rack up some receptions underneath. Does he kind of get a little bit of the Keenan Allen role that we saw in the past from Phillip Rivers when he was with the Chargers? Possibly. Allen Lazard, as of right now, could be the number 2 in Green Bay. Not a bad choice either. Personally, though, I'm going to go with my guys. And I've talked about Paris Campbell a lot on this channel, and I think he's young and got that opportunity in that offense. And that's really all you can ask for at this point. So now we're down to our defense, our kicker, and our last bench spot. I still see Goddard and Smith sitting here. So I don't need to reach for them because there's not going to be too many tight ends. I think at least one of them is going to make it another round or so. So I'm going to do something I don't normally do, but I've done it on some mock drafts before, and it's worked out okay. Instead of taking somebody here that's going to be buried on my bench, why not reach for a defense a little bit early? Kicker, not so much. There's quite a few good kickers, but for the defense, I'm just going to go ahead and take one of the better defenses here. I'm going to take the Saints. I love the possibility of the Saints defense this year, plus I get a better option there early on. Now, back to our tight ends. Still got Goddard, still got Jonnu Smith. If you want the safe floor, you want to play it safe, you go with Dallas Goedert. You want to shoot for the moon and try to get yourself a top 5 tight end with some risk, you go Jonnu Smith. I already took my shot for the moon right here with Gronk, right? There's a good chance that maybe he doesn't produce. And if he doesn't, I need that safe backup. Could be Fant, could be Gesicki, but they have other options in that offense. They're not going to be featured in that offense. Dallas Goedert, we know, is going to have a role. Like I said, he finishes a top 12 tight end last year. He's safer, in my opinion. He's going to be my bench tight end. That'll leave us with a kicker. And the only thing I do for kicker is I try to find the best offense that kicks indoors, so that we don't have to worry about weather and they're going to score points. That would be Zane Gonzalez. I'm not just going to take somebody that fits that mold if I don't like him, though. Zane Gonzalez, no offense, dude, but probably not. Kaimi Fairbairn, he's been the number 1 kicker before. Dan Bailey's had a huge leg, but he's struggled with injuries in the past. I mean, honestly, none of these guys. Young Ho Koo is just fun to say. He could be on my roster. I wouldn't mind. But I'm just going to go ahead and go with Matt Gay. Yeah, he kicks outdoors, but he's in that Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. And then we'll go ahead and see what kind of score we got. An 86 out of 100. Like I said, don't put too much into the score. Look at the team overall. Jimmy G, Drew Lock, Kamara, Eckler, Galladay, Ridley, Gronk, Woods with the Saints and Matt Gay. Then you have James Conner, Raheem Mostert on the bench with Dwayne Haskins. Remember, 2-quarterback league. Got to have yourself a safety valve. Latavius Murray, just in case something happens to Kamara, plus has weekly value. Jalen Reagor, young with upside. Paris Campbell, same thing, right? Young opportunity in that offense. Dallas Goedert, a little bit of a safety blanket in case something happens to Rob Gronkowski. So overall, I like this team. A lot of people may say, oh man, you need some help at quarterback. I want one of those good guys, one of those top tier guys. I get that, but look at what we were able to get by not reaching early. We got Kamara, Eckler, Galladay, Ridley. And heck, I'll even throw Woods in there at the end. And then James Conner and Raheem Mostert on our bench. We have trade pieces, we have youth, we have value, we have upside, and we still have stability. We didn't sacrifice any of that during this draft. So overall, I'd take this draft 100%. I know people won't like Dwayne Haskins, but go watch that video. I'll try to find the link to it, and I'll put it down below in the description so you guys can check it out. Dude could absolutely break out this year and surprise a lot of people. But let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Did you like this mock draft? Do you agree with all the picks? Would you have maybe done something a little bit different throughout this mock draft? That's the best part of this, right? I'm not sitting here telling you this is the guy you have to take in this round. We make different decisions as we go along, and we see how it turns out, so that way we know when we're actually on the clock in our real draft, we can make the right decisions because we know where people are going to somewhat be. That's what these are all about. So let me know down below in the comment section what you think. Looking forward to hearing from you. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day. If you're looking for our draft guide, it's available on our website, thefantasyheadliners.com. Do not miss out on almost 600 pages of all things fantasy football, and it's getting ready to drop here within the next 2 weeks. So make sure you pre-order yours now. You will not be disappointed. We greatly appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks.